Hello, and welcome back to part 3 of our series on how to help a grieving child. We have been talking about the book called The Golden Sweater. We read the story, and last time we talked about some questions that you can go over with your children or any other child who is grieving that we have gone through together as a family, and we think it's a really great resource. Again, this book is from the New York Life Foundation is who wrote it. And the National Alliance for Grieving Children is one of their partners, and their website is childrengrieve.org. And for every book that is downloaded on their website, the New York Life Foundation is donating $1 back to their bereavement partners, and the National Alliance for Grieving Children is one of those partners. Today we are going to talk about just some tips on how you can help a child who is grieving. These are tips that we have found helpful as we navigate through the grief process, as well as some things put forth from the New York Life Foundation and National Alliance for Grieving Children. So the first thing that we have really found to be helpful to is just to be clear with your children, to be honest. The truth is the best. Use terms that they can understand and that they know, and if it's something that they could maybe mistake with another meaning, make sure that you are explaining those meanings to them. A lot of times after children have experienced grief, the word die only means one thing, and that means that their loved one is no longer here with them. So maybe if you go and say, I'm going to go dye my hair, they might think that your hair is going to die, not that you are going to change the color, okay? Or maybe if there's an example of a little boy who they were always telling him that his grandpa's body was going to be at the funeral home, and then he finally said, well, where's his head going to be? So sometimes children just kind of process things in different ways, and we just need to make sure that we are clear and we tell the truth. Children are very resilient, and they're very strong, and they're very brave. This little girl right here has been my rock through our whole grief process, and they can't understand what they don't know, but when they do know, then they can understand, and it can help them to move along in their grief process better. So being clear and telling the truth is one huge thing that will help a grieving child. The second one, which is kind of what I already touched on, was to be descriptive. Be descriptive to a point. As children grow and get older, they're going to ask more questions. They're going to be able to understand more. So you are going to need to continue to talk about their grief and help them to understand in descriptive ways on maybe how they are feeling, and help them name those emotions so they can move forward and really acknowledge what they are feeling. Another thing is to be supportive. Like I said, she's been supportive of me, and I've tried my best to be supportive of her as well. We all need encouragement and support, whether it be another adult, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a peer who has lost a sibling or a loved one too. Just giving them those outlets where they can find that support and feel loved and feel like they're not alone is a huge thing for children as well. Some other things are traditions and activities. For us as adults, it's easy for us to avoid those activities that would maybe be difficult for us to face. But for children, that can mean something much different. Continuing those activities and those traditions are an important thing, because now they're not only missing somebody in their life, but now maybe they're actually missing an activity that they would do with that loved one as well. So to continue those activities, even though they might be a little different and maybe changed in some ways, are very important to help them continue to keep that connection with their loved one alive, because to keep that memory alive, because now that's what they have, is those memories. And that's something that's important for us as adults as well. Another thing that's important that was kind of talked about in the book, what was that special thing in the book? Do you remember?
The sweater.
The golden sweater. And the golden sweater was Kai's dad's golden sweater. So objects of remembrance or objects of reminiscence. So a photo, a blanket, a shirt, things that help to keep that connection, that memory lasting and live and fresh in their memory. And then the last thing is just self-care. It's hard for you to give anything when you don't have much to give. So you need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. That's so important for the children to see. And it's okay for them to see you sad on some days. It's okay for them to see you mad because they are feeling the same thing too. So just be sure that you are taking care of yourself. Make sure you do try to do one thing a day that you enjoy, even if it's just 5 minutes to sit in a bubble bath, something that can help to recharge yourself. So then you can help a child who is grieving recharge themselves too. Can you think of anything else that has been helpful to you?
Snuggling.
Snuggling. That physical touch is a huge thing. We as humans need at least 9 touches a day to feel the love and the connection. And even after a child has gone through something so tragic in their lives, that touch, that physical touch is even going to be more important. Good thinking, Audrey. Anything else you think that has helped you? No, those are good ones. All right, I hope that you have found this 3-part series helpful, or you know somebody that it can help. Leave any comments of things below that have helped you and that maybe can help someone else. Thanks. Bye.